Queensbury Town Board meeting. It is April 5th, 2021. And the time is 7 p.m. So would you please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we have two quick resolutions. I think they'll be quick. It's just to give two individuals extension of time. We'll explain a little bit more detail if the town board's willing to go to the local board of health.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Perrone.
It was Councilman
Seconded by
Medevere.
Councilman Freer. Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, it's unanimous. We're now on the Board of Health. So the first item, Rose, please.
This is a resolution granting John Graziano an extension of time to install replacement wastewater system on property located at 195 Assembly Point Road.
Okay, well, so these are people, for one reason or another, just want a little extension of time. They're going to repair or upgrade their system. And it's explained, it's for residents on 195 Assembly Point Road. And due to wintertime framework, the pre-work was not done, so they're just asking for a little bit of extension. That extension will be till September 30th, 2021, if this town board approves that tonight. Any questions on behalf of the town board on this extension?
Nope. No.
Harrison? Okay. All right. How about a resolution granting John Garziano an extension of time to install replacement wastewater system on his property located at 195 Assembly Point Road?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Medevere.
I'll second.
By Tim McNulty. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson Freer.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yes.
And Medevere.
Yes.
Okay. Next is another extension. Would you please introduce that to the public?
This is a resolution granting Chris Abley an extension of time to install wastewater and replacement wastewater systems on property located at 3 Polk Drive and 10 Polk Drive.
All right. So again, this is a situation for one reason or another. The house is, this property's been developing plans for a new house and wastewater system to replace the existing 2 cottages. The proposed plans received site plan approval on March 23rd meeting. While this project will begin in the spring, it's not expected that the associated house will be completed and seeking an occupancy certificate in the spring of 2022. Mr. Abel has paid the refundable $2,000 deposit, which the town will continue to hold for the duration of the construction period. And once the approved wastewater system is constructed and the house is allowed to be occupied, the deposit will be requested for a refund. So this is to give them the extension until June 30th, 2021 for 10 Polk Drive. And this is June 1st, 2022 for 3 Polk Road. And there's 3 Polk Road, and this is an extension till June 1st, 2022, and 10 Polk Drive asking for an extension to June 30th, 2021. And again, a $2,000 deposit was set on that proposed residence as well. Any questions, thoughts?
No questions.
Nope.
All right, a motion to grant Chris Abel an extension of time to install wastewater and replacement wastewater systems on property located at 3 Polk Drive and 10 Polk Drive.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Brown,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Barone.
Yes.
McNulty. McNulty.
Tim?
He
Second
said,
that, yes.
Okay,
Stroud,
yes,
Medevere,
Yes.
and Freer.
Yes.
okay. All right, that's it for the local board of health. How about a motion to move out of local board of health?
so moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer,
Second?
seconded by Councilperson Medevere. All those in favor of moving out of the local board of health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, it's unanimous, and aye for myself too. All right, next is the public hearing. Would you please introduce that to the public, Rose?
It's a public hearing on Bay Ridge Rescue Squad, Inc.'s proposal to purchase ambulance and authorizing incurrence of tax-exempt financing debt for such purchase.
All right, we set this public hearing March 8th, for tonight, April 5th. And the Bay Ridge Rescue Squad wishes to trade in its year 2013 Ford E450 ambulance and purchase a 2021 Ford F350 4x4 chassis ambulance at a price not to exceed $199,505. The squad plans on selling the 2013 Ford E450 ambulance and using receipt funds towards the purchase of the new ambulance. And they are going to borrow from Adirondack Trust, and to get tax exempt financing, we're going to hold a public hearing and talk about it and vote on it. Okay, so before I open the public hearing, any town board thoughts on this? All right, seeing
Have
none.
a buyer line for the old ambulance?
What's that, Tim?
Do they have a buyer lined up for the old ambulance, or they have to put it up for bid?
Now, Shane's here, and he says no. Connie's on with the attendees, but, and Mark Shacker's here. But he came on.
But they don't expect any problems with it, with the sale?
No, Shane says no.
Okay. Good, thank you.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody on Zoom wish to talk about it? If you're watching us through YouTube, you can call us at this number. I don't know if it's showing up, but it's 761-8225. Area code 518-761-8225. I have the phone here. You have to have a caller ID or some ID before I'll answer it, but you can call in a question or share a thought. Jane, did you want to speak to anything at this point?
Nope, I said enough during the last meeting about the ambulance.
Okay.
We definitely need it though.
Well, I don't see any little blue hands. All right, but again, this board speaks for the public when we say we appreciate everything that you do for us. I mean, it's volunteer time, and you spend a lot of it. And you're so giving, so selfless. I can't express how much we deeply appreciate what you do for us. All right, thank you. All right, not seeing any interest on behalf of the public to speak to this, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to authorize Bay Ridge Rescue Squad proposal to purchase ambulance and authorizing incurrence of tax-exempt financing and debt for such purpose.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilperson Ferone. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
Ferone,
Yes.
and McNulty.
Yes.
All right, passes unanimously. You're all set.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome to stay. All right, that's it for the hearings. Now we have resolutions. We have 14 resolutions.
We have one more hearing. We have a hearing.
What? Oh, yeah,
Halcyon.
Halcyon. Forget about Halcyon. All right, there's a piece of property on Luzerne Road. You want to speak to that?
Want me to introduce it?
Yeah, you introduce yourself for the
No,
record, please.
Rose needs to introduce the,
I'll introduce it.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
hearing on Halcyon Properties, Inc. application for variance waiver request from sanitary sewer connection requirement set forth in Town Code, Chapter 136, sewers and sewage disposal.
Okay, so this is Halcyon Properties. It's on 377 Corinth Road. And the present use of the property and the distance from the improvement to the end of the sewer pipeline would make the tie-in prohibitive as set forth in the March 5th, 2021 application presented at this meeting. And that was the meeting of March 22nd. There's just a single house on this property.
Correct.
And they're still gonna have to pay O&M. And it's a beautiful piece of property. So if it, and when it gets sold, hopefully soon, they'll tie in. But right now, what's the sense, right?
It would be uneconomic because of the distance, 700 feet. And the property has a fairly new septic system there, so that would be a waste of an economic resource.
Okay. Any questions for the agent, for the applicant?
Nope.
Or are you the owner?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, can you just
Well,
introduce
that's a great
yourself?
Oh,
for the
yes.
record?
property.
My name is Neil Leibowitz, Lebowitz.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Neil. Well, let's see if there's any members. I'll open the public hearing. Any members of the public wish to speak to this? Seeing none, Mark Shackner's on there in case we need him. He is in the attendees. I can move him, but. All right, so seeing none, and anybody watching YouTube, area code 518-761-8225. Oh, you got it on there for you? Good. All right, well, wait a minute. I don't see any blue hands. I don't see any Q&A. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve Halcyon Properties application for variance waiver request from sanitary sewer connection requirement set forth in the Town Code, Chapter 136 for sewers and sewage disposal. And approving it means that we go through and fill in, due to the nature of the variance or waiver request, the town board determines that the granting of the variance waiver would not, agreed, would not be detrimental, materially detrimental to the purposes and objectives of the Queensbury Town Code, Chapter 136.
correct.
Next, the town board finds that the granting of the variance waiver is or is not reasonable, and I would say is reasonable, and would not alleviate unnecessary hardship on the Halcyon property. Be it resolved that the Queensbury Town Board hereby, I'm going to propose approves, but that depends on our vote, and grants a 2-year extension of time until April 5th, 2023. And it says the tax map number, and in the meantime, if there is any change in use of the property, that new use will be expected to tie in. Okay,
Understood.
so, and resolve that the applicant shall pay all charges due as if the property was connected to the West Queensbury Sanitary Sewer District. All right, does anybody want to move that for approval?
Can I ask a silly question for a second?
Yeah,
Page 2B,
yeah.
The town board finds that the granting, you're gonna think I'm lost my mind, of this variance is reasonable
Yeah,
and would alleviate unnecessary hardship. Isn't that correct?
Would.
It's would.
Would, yeah.
He said would not.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
oh, it would alleviate unnecessary
I'm
hardship.
like,
Yeah, Mark, you can talk, I brought you in.
Saying,
I guess on Zoom, you can hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, that's would not, great. And then my question though was, thank you for bringing me in, John. Are you proposing to keep or not keep the language at the bottom of page 2 in the resolved in terms of if there's any change in the status of the property, then the variance terminates unless the town board approves the new application? Proposing to keep that in or not keep that in?
I think we wanted to keep that in, right? Yes, we wanted to keep that in.
Okay, great. Just wanted to confirm.
Okay. So the phone worked. All right, so with all the understandings that we just went through, is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilperson Medavere,
I can make that.
seconded by McNulty or Freer?
I'll give it to you.
Uh,
Yeah.
All right, Councilperson Freer, roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Medavere.
yes.
Freer.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
Strapp.
Yeah. All right, now we're done with the public hearing. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Supervisor, members of the town board.
All right, now we have 14 resolutions. I will quickly describe the 14 resolutions and give the public an opportunity to speak to them. And then I'll have the town board speak to any of them they need to speak to. And then we'll vote. So 5.1, please.
This is a resolution authorizing contracts for employee group health insurance plans with Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, and Blue View Vision effective July 1st, 2021 through June 23rd, 2023.
All right, we want to do this while we can. This is zero increase for health insurance. You know, from July 1st, 2021 until June 23rd, 2023. 0% increase, so that's what that is. Our health insurance for town employees, 0% increase. We want to get that approved. 5.2.
Resolution establishing position of wastewater maintenance supervisor and promoting Matthew Bearer to such position.
All right, Matt Fair, a very good worker in our wastewater department. Our wastewater director, Chris Harrington, highly recommends that we move him up to wastewater maintenance supervisor in the town's wastewater department. He has the job experience. He has the recommendation from the wastewater director, and has recommended the promotion of Mr. Bear to wastewater maintenance supervisor. 5.3,
Resolution authorizing engagement of CT Mail Associates to provide professional engineering services to complete WaterCAD model updates for town-wide water distribution system.
all right. We had a 1999 study to bring wastewater up north of Haviland Road, and it would include providing
Not wasteful,
water. What did I say, wastewater? Water. Yeah, there's a difference. So, that 1999 study to bring water northward from Haviland Road, up Ridge Road, and possibly including Lake Sunnyside and Glen Lake and other neighborhoods along the way, because the more people you have spreading the cost of this capital project is going to be better. So upgrading the design will cost $16,800, but given some of what we're seeing in the Jenkinsville area we want to try and be as proactive as possible and to see what this involves. So CTMal is the firm that did the last one in 1999. They already have a lot of the resources needed. That's why, and that's relatively inexpensive for designing a system of this extent. If the town board approves it, that's 5.3. 5.4,
Resolution amending Town of Queensbury Volunteer Firefighter and Emergency Squad Service Award Program point system for a period of March 2020 through December 2020, when special response rules were in effect during COVID-19 pandemic of 2020.
all right. The governor is allowing us to give our EMS, volunteer EMS workers and fire workers points, because during the worst of the crisis, which was basically March of 2020 to December 31st of 2020, 10 months, there was training they couldn't do. There were other operations that some people could not do who otherwise would have done. This is giving them 2 points per month for those 10 months I just described, for a total of 20 points. Now, they need 50 to get credit for 1 year of a retirement. And so, and we put $700 in, and they can collect that when they do retire for their voluntary service, volunteer service. So this is giving them 20 points. So if they earn 30 or more, they're going to get a year's credit because of COVID related. We're giving them an extra 20 points if the town board approves it. 5.5.
Resolution authorizing unpaid medical leave of absence for Wayne Eastmans.
All right, Wayne Eastman, a good guy. He wants to come back to work. He's had some health issues. He's trying to overcome them. So this is giving him a 30-day unpaid medical leave of absence as set forth in Warren County Civil Service Rule 19. And extending the earlier of April 26th for certification of his physical qualification to return to work. So this would give him 30 days if he needs it. 5.6.
Resolution authorizing award of bid to E.J. Prescott, Inc. for yellow mine piping and fittings related to Ridge Road Water Main Rehabilitation and Lining Project.
Yes, we're doing a relining project on Ridge Road from Quaker Road up to Corona Road. We've had several breaks there because of the soil types and the type of pipe that's there. We're told that lining this pipe will make it last a long, long time, and we think it's the best cost benefit for there. And in the meantime, we're going to buy pipe to be able to bypass the pipe that's being worked on so that the service will not be inhibited, the water service will not be inhibited. We'll have a bypass going, and so all the service will be provided. So we bought our own pipe for the bypass because we will use it for other water service bypass works in the future. So we went out to bid. This board gave Chris Harrington, the water superintendent, permission to go out to bid, and this is the result of the bid. We go out and buy this piping. And it was $26,467.87. 5.7.
Resolution authorizing settlement of property assessment cases filed by NCA of QU Real Estate Holdings LLC.
Okay. So, this is 6 Willowbrook Road, and it's the daycare center over there. And they felt they were overassessed, and so we went through negotiations, and they were reduced some. We agreed, and they agreed at a certain amount, that their assessed value was $842,000 in 2019. It will be $805,050. In other words, reduced $36,950 for 2019. And for 2020, it was assessed at $842,000. Reduced assessed value to $796,105, a reduction of $45,895. There will be refunds based on the 2019 and 2020 assessment reductions and shall be paid without interest provided they're paid within 60 days after petitioner serves a copy of the filed court order approving the settlement. And Terry Ross says this is a good deal. Our attorneys who worked on the matter says it's a fair deal, and the owners think it's a fair deal. If this town board approves it, it's a fair deal. All right, 5.8.
Resolution authorizing engagement of ClearGov for professional services related to implementation of digital budget book software.
All right, so the accounting office came to me and they would like to upgrade their accounting software to put them into the next century or this century. It's $7,400 annually for the subscription and $1,800 for the original setup. And this is to approve the $1,800 setup and implementation services and $7,400 annually for subscription and support services of this new accounting thing. And I guess it's a wow. According to Barbara Kearney, our budget officer, she's very impressed with what this can do and says that when it comes budget time, we'll be able to make the public understand the complexities of this budget in amazing ways. So she showed me some of the things it does, and it's going to be worth it. 5.9.
Resolution authorizing hiring of Robert Lamarck as part-time laborer for town transfer stations.
All right, they need a part-time laborer over in the transfer stations on Saturdays. And so Bob Lamarck has offered to do that, and Rich Ferris has interviewed him, and he says he'll be good for this. He'll be on an on-call basis to work at the transfer stations, not to exceed 20 hours a week. And Mrs. Lamarck is, for the purpose of disclosure, my executive assistant's son, Victoria Lamarck's son. 5.10.
Resolution authorizing transfer of funds from undesignated general fund balance to replenish capital reserve number 64.
All right, every so often, we have to shift funds to pay for future capital projects. We always have them. We're gonna need to put a lot more than $1,500,000 into future capital projects, but this is moving that to there, so it can be spent on capital projects. We've got new building going in, a new storage building going in over on Big Bay Road, which is like site number 2 for our highway department. We got another building going in, replacing dilapidated sheds that the cemetery has been, and they've been after me for 7 years to get a new building, and we've worked out a way that we think we can do that. We want to redo the front of this building. We got more trucks to buy. I mean, the capital spending can go on and on and on. To keep a town going of our magnitude, it costs money to keep things in good shape, and it's important that we keep things in good shape. 5.11.
Resolution to amend 2021 town budget.
All right, just little shifts in the budget, where it wasn't needed to where it was needed. 5.12.
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of 4/6/2021.
All right, payment date of April 6th totaling $853,018.42. 5.13.
Resolution authorizing engagement of the Chazen Companies to complete Glen Lake Watershed Management Plan.
All right, this was a long-time process. We had Barton and the Judas and Chazen. We put out requests for qualifications, and they were the only 2 that submitted, and both of them were highly qualified. Then we put a request for proposals. They were the only 2 that put in proposals, and both are great companies. The committee, Paul McPhillips, Paul Derby, Dave Hodgson, Tony Medevere, myself, went through both proposals, interviewed the folks that proposed them, Barton and Judas and Chase and companies. And they were close. They're both good firms. And by the end of the day, the committee wanted to go with Chazen to do an environmental study of the Glen Lake watershed area. DEC, as you know, they go through invasive management, and they have a district for invasive management. But the DEC wants a integrated, I'm using their word, comprehensive environmental management plan that goes way beyond just trying to manage the invasive species. You know, it goes on to studying the content of nutrients in the water, the particulate matter in the water, the upland, the contribution to nutrient loading in the lake, on and on and on. Tony, is there anything you want to add?
No, that's good.
So it's a study that's going to be needed. We need to do that. And it's for a cost of $77,602, and we thought that was fair considering everything that's going in on this. 514,
Resolution authorizing adoption of April 2021 Town of Queensbury COVID-19 pandemic response plan.
all right, so we've upgraded this, and we're allowing some in-person meetings, such as tonight. And the Queensbury seniors are doing some in-person activities. They'll all have to be COVID compliant. COVID rules still have to be followed. But we're loosening up a little bit for April, a little bit. And then in May, we'll see what May looks like as we approach the end of April. We have another town board meeting, I think it's May 3rd. And so we'll take a look and see where we're going, and then adjust the town COVID plan, pandemic plan, whatever you want to call it, so that we keep our workers safe and we keep our public safe. And we've gotten commendations on our COVID plan, saying that we're one of the municipalities that has one of the most comprehensive, thorough COVID plans, and I think it explains our success. We've had very few employees get sick, and none of them related to work. It was related to other activities. So anyhow, this is just updated, as we usually do on a monthly basis. All right, those are the 14 resolutions before the town board tonight. Before I go to town board discussions, there's Mark Shatner. All right, Mark, is there anything you want?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, in the sixth whereas in 5.13, if Tony was on the interviewing committee, his name was omitted presumably by mistake. So the sixth whereas, you want to add Tony in there.
Yes, Tony was on that committee, so he should be added. Thank you, Mark.
Right,
Tony,
Yep.
you didn't catch that? All right.
It wasn't a
So,
spelling check.
Is that agreeable, that amending, adding Tony to the committee because he was on the committee?
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
That's in the sixth whereas on the top of page 2 of that resolution.
Yes, right on the top, add Tony Metavir's name. All right, thank you, Mark, good catch. Any other member of the public wish to speak to any of the 14 resolutions before the town board tonight? And again, you can call in, like our town council, Mark Shatner did, 761-8225. Peter's got it on there anyhow for the YouTube people. And for the Zoom people, you can raise your blue hand or go to the Q&A or the chat. So no open questions. No blue hands, except for Mark Shatner, this is still up.
Not supposed to be.
There, it's gone. All right. All right, nobody seems to want to talk to any of the 14 resolutions, so I'll hand it over to the town board. Anything?
Resolution 5-1, for the better part of 6 years, when these have come up between the Upstate Agency or Aero Financial Corporation, Glens Falls National Bank, Saratoga National, I've always abstained.
Yes,
I no longer am employed by them,
right.
so is it appropriate that I can now vote on these again?
Okay, but they do a great job for us, I have to
Phenomenal.
say. But you're
They-
no longer working for them,
That's correct.
so you can vote on it.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear for everybody keeping score at home.
Now, we're very happy with 0% increase in health insurance. That's good.
I have one, John.
Yes,
Okay, Resolution 5.8, that new budgeting software. Great idea. It's really a nominal fee, but I noted that there's a 3% annual increase in that subscription unless after the initial service period, we negotiate a multi-year service order. So I imagine if Barbara really likes this, maybe she puts that on her calendar 60 days before the end of this contract to see if we could enter into a
well, that's a
multi-year
good point.
contract.
Barbara's pretty tight with the money and pretty good with the contracts.
Right.
But I will remind her. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else?
John?
Yeah, Tim?
Yeah, reference 5.4, I think we want to extend our appreciation to the EMS company leadership. We all had questions considering the granting of hours. They responded, each of them responded quickly, letting us know that the people that were getting the hours did in fact were volunteers who earned the 30 hours previously, and I just wanted to thank them on behalf of the board for responding to our questions.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure they appreciate that. Thanks, Tim. Any other thoughts or you want to share on behalf of the town board, anything? Harrison or anything? Okay. All right, how about a motion, since no roll call, motion to approve resolutions 5.1 to 514.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilperson Bedivere,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilperson Brown. Roll call vote on approving the 14 resolutions before the town board tonight.
Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
McNulty,
Tim?
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
and Medivere.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, it's unanimously approved, those 14 resolutions. Any correspondence, Rose?
No correspondence.
Privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for anybody who wishes to speak to the town board about a town topic. This is your opportunity to share your thoughts. You can call in if you're watching YouTube at 761-8225. You can use the chat or the Q&A. I would see it both, or raise your little blue hand if you're watching Zoom. Chat, we got one. All right. From Mike and Diana Cracky. Regarding the Jenkinsville well water situation, is anyone from the town actively searching out possible grant funding for a clear water solution, clean water solution? We certainly will be, but we gotta get the ducks in a row first. I was gonna announce it later, but I'll announce it now. Talking to the DEC, and I'll announce it again later, just so it gets repeated. They're going to send out a community newsletter, which explains what they've been doing and what they plan to do. And on April 19th, they're going to make a presentation as part of the town board meeting. It'll start at 7. I anticipate it'll last an hour. So they're going to do a presentation. They're going to do Q&A. And the other thing is that as I learn things, I have an email list from people that have, emailed the town, and I captured their email. So I'm giving them updates via email, which I will also speak to at the end of the meeting. And We're trying to do everything to make sure that the people in the Jenkinsville area are informed. And Tony Medevere, Councilperson Medevere, is doing door-to-door to give a handout, an informational handout, and also to take some feedback from people in the Jenkinsville area. So yes, we will be seeking grants. And as we go forward. Good question. All right, any other questions? Another one? Thank you. All right, you're welcome. Any call-ins? 761-8225? All right, I guess we've done that. So let's move on to town board discussions. Tony?
Sure. Before I get started on my stuff, I wanted to congratulate Lake George Village Mayor, Bob Blaze, who I consider a very, very dear friend. It was 50 years ago today that he sat in his first village meeting. 50 years he's served as the mayor of the village of Lake George. There's a man who is a true public servant right there. I'm 14 years into this. There's no way in hell I'm going to make it 50. Never going to happen. But he has, so I congratulate him. Great guy. I sit on a board with him, and he runs a great meeting. He's just a funny guy, and I have the pleasure of actually working with him on Friday nights up at the village when we have we don't. He has the concerts come to town, and my wife and I actually help serve beer. It's a great time. And my wife's become a really mean pour of really good beer. So I want to wish him all the best. John, as you alluded to, I have been attempting to go door to door, delivering those notifications. It's been difficult. People are upset. They're very upset. And, I've made it perfectly clear that I'm not going to respond to any questions or phone calls. I want it in writing. So in turn, I can respond in writing, so we have a paper trail of it. What I have found in the past, if I've spoken to people on the phone or in person, some of the information gets misconstrued. I look like the bad guy. So I've made it clear to folks, because this has been a lot more difficult to do than I think I originally anticipated it being. When you asked me this morning about it, you said, how'd you do? Not great. Because, if I go out for a couple hours, I may be able to hit 4 or 5 homes. And there's 122 there. I was out for about an hour today. I talked to the trackies, and, we talked about the grant funding, and, I assured them that we will do everything in our power, possibly, to get them, not them, but get the folks up there grant funding, and we're open to all suggestions. I know that obviously some of the suggestions that I've pointed out in the past are not, favored. I get that. I've said all along I'm trying to think outside the box here, and I've talked to you and Chris Harrington, and there's a lot of great ideas floating out there, but until we know the magnitude of this and what we can ultimately afford to do or do, it's going to be a challenge. This is I said 2 weeks ago, I'll say it again. In my 14 years, I've never seen a problem quite like this, and B, a town board that has stepped up more than this one has to really figure this out. I applaud all 5 of us, and I'll include myself, because as I said to you, I'm very upset about this. I think people, when they talk to me, know that I'm upset about this. But I've been beaten up a lot too. And, you know, I just remind people, I did not create this. I'm just working on a solution to it. And, you know, this is long before I came along. These landfills were there, or whatever you want to call them. And, you know, I read, interestingly enough, a comment from somebody on Facebook that actually online said it was only a matter of time. And, you know, take it for what it's worth, but, you know, we have some problems up there. And I just, there's four landfills. We have to figure out where the source is. As I explained to somebody, it could be the shampoo that you use. We just don't know at this point. And, you know, the last few days have been very difficult for me. And I'm not, look, I signed up for this. I get it. You know, my skin over the last 14 years has become really thick. But this has been very difficult, very emotional. You know, I really do feel defeated this time. And, you know, I'll be interested to see what the next meeting brings with everybody. It's going to be a long meeting, and that's fine. I just hope that people realize that we didn't create this. We're just trying to fix it. You know, be a little bit easy on us, just a little bit, because what I've been through, you know, up until this point, and then this past weekend, it's been tough. It's very difficult. And, you know, I was defeated tonight. I really was. So I'm going to keep going, and, you know, just, again, I can't stress enough that I will not respond to your questions. I will reply to your questions, just so we have some kind of paper trail. I just don't want to ever be accused of saying something that either isn't true or was misconstrued. It's happened already, especially with the media, and I'm not going to let it happen again. So that's my soapbox. But, you know, the idea was great. I think the execution was there, but it's been a challenging weekend, I'll tell you that. So.
Well, and the DEC is going to work with us right to the end. And, you know, it's this town board. You care. We all care.
We do care. And that's the message I've been trying. Look, folks, we did not create this, but we will fix it. I don't know how. I don't know when. You know, I do think people feel as though, you know, why haven't we fixed it already? And I joke with them that it's a lot more difficult than just running a garden hose up Ridge Road to give these people water. It's just, that's not going to fix it. And, yeah, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time, but we'll get there one way or another.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
That's it.
George?
I applaud you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Don't take it so hard in that I think we live in a culture where there's immediacy to solving every problem. Unfortunately, this is one of those things that there's no immediate solution
There is
for.
not.
So I hope everybody, as you asked, would be patient, but we are doing everything we can do up to this point.
Like I said, and I'll say it a million times over, I've never seen a town board more responsive than the 5 of us have been in a situation that really caught us by surprise. And, you know, yeah, so I'll stop.
Okay. The only other thing I have, John, is, and I don't know if this was on your list, but I did note that notification from the Department of Transportation about a culvert repair on Warren Street, and they noted that some of that work is going to start on April 21st, and that Warren would probably be closed between April 23rd and April 26th. So throw that out there for folks to be aware of that.
Yep.
And other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, George. Tim McNulty?
Yeah, thanks, John. It's good to see you back in the conference room there. I'm out west bringing my daughter her stuff. But I look forward to being back in the room with all of you at our next meeting. I did want to pass on that I met with the Jim Stepan and the Warren County EDC leadership 2 weeks ago to continue our discussion on looking at ways to bring more jobs, some jobs with benefits, good jobs, into the area. He shared with me that they're bringing in some of the medical device manufacturers onto the board to get conversations with them going into what assistance we could provide or they could provide to ramp up some additional employment opportunities. So I'm going to continue working with the EDC and the chamber and share the information with the board as we go forward. Jim said that he'll come back and talk to us anytime, as he said at our meeting, but I'm happy the way things are going and look forward to the further ongoing discussions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Harrison?
Yeah, so I have a couple of, actually I have 4 things, but I just want to sort of caveat in terms of what's been said about Jenkinsville. And I appreciate the folks who are dialed in to listen to what's going on up there. And I think the community outreach is good, and citizen involvement and engagement will be imperative for us to figure out what the best solution and what the practical solution is. And 2 areas that I think we could use some more citizen engagement, and I hope that there's citizens out there who will step up and give us their views so that we can get buy-in and we can build trust in the community, which I think this town board has quite a bit of trust in, but there's never enough. So the 2 areas that I wanted to sort of put under this umbrella is the short-term rental community committee that we're going to set up, spend about a year reviewing what's going on in the short-term rental world. There's a lot going on, and Tim McNulty and I will work through that. We're looking for 3 short-term rental owners and 3 or 4 short-term rental community members who have seen issues or challenges with short-term rentals in their neighborhood to serve on an advisory board so that we can get through some of those issues. And so if you're interested, please contact me or Tim, and we'll figure out how to move forward in that. It's going to be about a year worth of looking at our regs, everyone else's regs, especially close by in New York. And it should be an interesting and hopefully useful, valuable thing for the town. The second one is not quite as verbose, but as almost everybody should know, the state approved legalized recreational marijuana use this week, or last week, and the town has an opportunity to opt out of some of those activities associated with recreational marijuana. And so I would like anybody who has inputs about that, and I think the rest of the town board would be open to do that, decide whether we even want to consider that, or what are our options regarding that new law that's going to affect us. The 2 other announcements, more than anything, was our local Experimental Aircraft Association has been awarded a $10,000 scholarship to teach a teenager aged 16 to 19 to get their private pilot license. And so if anybody knows anybody out there that's interested in aviation or an aviation career, you can contact me and I can give you more information about that. It's a great opportunity for a teenager who has those kind of interests. And then lastly, I attended the Hacker Vote meeting, open public hearing this afternoon, and we're happy to see them moving into the area. And I think there was agreement that what was being asked for was reasonable, and hopefully that will all get done quickly. And the Hacker Vote company will be moving down into Queensbury and expanding. So that's all I have. I'm happy to follow up with anybody offline. Again, happy to see a lot of people at least listening in, and eventually we'll be able to engage the community in person as we try to move forward into what's going to be the new norm. So that's it for me.
You do have a question.
Harrison, you got Harrison, you have a chat request.
Okay?
Yeah, well, the person says, what do you mean by opt-out?
It doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that the town can opt out of allowing for recreational use, but, you know, what kind of retail activities that we want to allow or not allow. So, there's, language in the laws, you can read it in paper, but, all of the, municipalities, except for counties, that means villages, cities, and towns can opt out of, providing, retail, and I'll let Mark just dial in so he can give some more information.
Yeah, well, that's 2023, so we got some time to think about it.
Well, it's something that you get.
I don't think I dialed in.
What's that, Mark?
I didn't dial in.
All right. So, anything else, Harrison?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, my turn. First of all, a little somber note. You know, I've been here 20 years now, and planning board, council person, town supervisor. So when some of our employees, some of whom I have pursued, pass away, it hurts. So we had Keishier and Eugene Ward, who recently passed away. Two very lovely, lovely people, great workers. And I want to do a moment of silence, if you'll allow me to, in respect for the two workers. Keishier worked for the town for 35 years, and Eugene, or Gene, Ward worked for 32 years. So they're long-standing, great employees, and just a moment of silence, please, to pay our respects. All right, thank you very much for that. All right, I'd like to move on to some things, public announcements, of course, in the environmental segment. Creating new jobs and enterprises through zero waste, a webinar with 4 of the country's most respected leaders in the field of reuse and repair. April 7th, from 2 to 3:30. It's a free event on Zoom, and you register via Clean Air Action Network, all one word, .org. But I'm sure if you type in Clean Air Action Network, you will get there. So Elizabeth Knight, Mark Foster, Jacob Hanna, Mary Lou Van Deventer will be some of the speakers. Also, the Park and Rec put out a nice flyer on, get a little echo here, on Halfway Brook Trail. And it's widely used, and I gotta thank Park and Rec for putting together this beautiful flyer. And so look for it in the flyer stands. Also, time for yard waste pickup, leaves, grass clippings, branches only. So do bag your leaves and put them near the road, not in the road. Limbs do not exceed 8 feet and 4 inches in diameter. Put roadside. Your grass clippings and leaves put in a biodegradable bag. You can buy those any of your big box stores, your hardware stores. Do not mix sod, rocks, stones, and with the grass and leaf and pine needle stuff. And try and keep your bags to less than 50 pounds. And again, use biodegradable bags. We will not pick up bags when you put them in plastic. All right, Ward 3. Yard waste must be out on April 19th. That's the date of our big meeting. Ward 4, out on May 3rd. Ward 2, out by May 10th. And Ward 1, out by May 17th. Okay? Also, Warren County is holding household hazardous waste collection. There's 2 days. One is Saturday, April 24th, from 9 to 2, right here in back of me in the Queensbury Highway Garage area. April 24th, it's a Saturday. They would prefer that you filled out a form saying what you plan on bringing, the preference. There is copies of that on our town website, or it takes you to the county website, actually. This is the county household hazardous waste collection effort. Also, the second one, if you missed the first one, will be July 24th, and that'll be up in Warrensburg. And that's a Saturday, July 24th, 9 to 2. So recycle your antifreeze, your pesticides, your oil-based paints, your corrosive cleaners, your fluorescent tubes, and so forth. Your latex paint can be deposited at the transfer stations. You have to let it dry out. Open the tops, whatever's remaining in the can, let it dry out, and then you can bring it to the transfer station. The oil-based paints you can bring to the hazardous waste collection. All right,
John,
town board.
John?
What?
Can we do the tire thing again sometime soon?
Yeah. Yeah, we do that from time to time. You want us to do it again?
I think so. I think it's time. Somebody posted a video of some jerk throwing tires off a bridge the other day.
Yeah, all right, well, ask Rich Harris about it. He's the superintendent of our solid waste. Also, a letter went from the town board out to the public telling them what we've actively been doing. We passed a resolution securing the services of CT Mal Associates geologist John Muncie to provide the town board and the town residents professional environmental services and overview related to the study of the groundwater in the Jenkinsville area. So John Muncie has already reported there are multiple potential sources for 1,4-dioxane, including 4 landfills, as well as possibly from septic systems, as Tony mentioned. There is no scientific justification for source identification to any one or multiple sources at the present time. That is clear. New York State DEC will back that up. The town's closed landfill is a potential source, among other sources. Also, on Friday, March 26th, we talked with Susan Edwards. She is the director of Bureau D, Special Projects for New York State DEC. That the DEC plans to create and publish a community fact sheet and will be sent to the folks in the Jenkinsville area. This fact sheet will also communicate a public outreach as part of our April 19th town board meeting, a presentation that will be followed up with Q&A, expected to take about 1 hour. If it takes longer, it takes longer. We will start at 7 p.m. We'll start the presentation right at the beginning of the meeting. On April 5th, we had a town board resolution before us tonight that got approved that is going to hire the services of CT Mal Associates, who did the original 1999 study, to upgrade and update the study to look at expanding our district northward. On the 19th, as I've mentioned, at our town board meeting at 7 p.m., there will be a New York State DEC, New York State DOH informational presentation in regards to their investigation of the Jenkinsville area. The meeting will be Zoom, YouTube, Look TV, and some live attendance will be allowed. But we only are allowing 5, 10, 15, about 18 people in the room. So we would prefer you do through Zoom or YouTube, and we do take questions that way, or you can share your thoughts with us that way. And it doesn't have to be a question. So, again, the community fact sheet will precede the April 19th town board meeting. This was sent to those people that live in the Jenkinsville area who have shared their email with me. If you want to receive updates as we know them, please share your email with me. You can go right on the town website and it'll get to me. And I'll put you on the list, and future informational reports will go to you too. Otherwise, Tony will be knocking at your door. All right. So that's it for me tonight. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, time is about 8 o'clock, 8:06. All right, let me do my thank yous. I want to thank Joel Barlow, Josie Jackson, Look TV, and the sponsors for our programs. And I would like to thank Peter and Joe Pape from Pape Productions, Town Council Mark Shatner, Deputy Town Clerk Rose Mellon, and thank you everybody for attending tonight's meeting, and to all a good and safe night, and enjoy the good weather.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll entertain-
Congratulations to Stanford and Go Gonzaga.
Oh yeah, that starts at what, 9:20? Sometime after 9. Yeah, that'll be a great game. All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
All right, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Frome,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councilperson Medevere. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. We're now adjourned.
Thank
I forgot.
Good night.